The Mandalorian is one of Star Wars' greatest inventions, whether you're comparing it to comics, video games, books, movies, TV shows. There's no doubt that the Star Wars community loves The Mandalorian, and Season 2 is looking fantastic, gives a lot of fan service, and has the community excited to watch more and more, and hopefully a lot more seasons to come. We've made a lot of predictions regarding the latest episodes of Star Wars, and we've been pretty accurate on the ballpark. If you haven't seen those videos, go ahead and check those just above my head. But now we are going to predict the next 2 episodes of The Mandalorian and see how Season 3 will be set up. If you're ready to get started and predict The Mandalorian as accurately as possible, go ahead and keep watching. Greetings, fellow nerds. Welcome to another Nerdful video. You know what we do here. We talk about movies, TV shows, board games, video games, all things nerdy because, well, you know, that's what nerds do. We just love and get passionate about so many different things. Of course, we also play Magic the Gathering daily. It's one of my favorite games. So if any of those things piqued your interest just a tad bit, consider hitting that subscribe button so that you have a much easier time finding me in the future. So first off, spoilers are ahead. If you have not seen episodes 5 and 6 of The Mandalorian, that's probably going to be required for you to understand what we're talking about in the future. And also, I just don't want to ruin that for you. So honestly, just click away, watch those episodes, and then come back to this video. All right, if you're still here, that means you've watched the recent 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, or you want to deprive yourself of that. I don't know why you want to do that, but please don't do that, honestly. But if you're still here, you've got your warning. So let's get started with the predictions. So last time we've been pretty accurate about our predictions. Last time we talked about Grogu and what Jedi would or wouldn't come. Of course, I said there's no way, it doesn't make sense in terms of pacing, of power level, of dynamic, and it would just kind of ruin the momentum of how Season 2 is going. Most importantly, it would ruin the dynamic of Grogu and Mandalorian's relationship. So we've been accurate about that. That was like the biggest thing people were talking about, like, oh, who could come? Not realizing, wait, maybe there's an option of no one can come. Of course, I didn't predict, at least, that the Dark Troopers would be released so early. I was a little disappointed that all they did was just kind of fly in all Iron Man style and they kidnap him and then fly back away. I thought there might have been at least a small opportunity for the fans to see the firepower, especially those who don't know what the Dark Troopers are. But I think in a certain sense that does also set up the future episodes, and we are going to talk about that, see how the Dark Troopers will be utilized in the next few episodes. I gotta say this though, they are repping the Asian pride all across the board with The Mandalorian. I can't help but feel a little bit proud about my boys Paul Sung-Hyung Lee, Tamura Morrison, Ming-Na Wen, just representing for the Asian community and making Star Wars more BA than ever before. So quick shout out to those epic people. So Episode 7 is probably going to be really focused on the prison break, but I also think that there's a lot of time dedicated to just doing the prison break in 20 minutes and then doing 20 minutes setting up for Episode 8. And I think that's really important. I think an entire episode dedicated to a prison break would be honestly a little boring and, you know, kind of dragged out. So I think what will happen, I think the first 5 minutes or so, you'll see Boba Fett fly with Fennec and the Mandalorian, or I should say the Mandalorian flying with Boba Fett and Fennec to the prison. And I think within those 5 minutes we'll get Boba Fett probably briefly explaining how he was able to escape the Sarlacc pit. And I don't think that's necessarily for the Mandalorian. That's more for us, the fans, especially for those who haven't read the Legends comic about how he escaped. I think they're going to at least utilize part of that to explain how he was able to escape. And it's really cool how they're bringing in more Legend stuff because, you know, Legend stuff is really awesome. They basically just confirmed Jango Fett's origin story, which was Legends for a while, and now it's canon again. So I think this would be a perfect time. Just 5 minutes. It doesn't even be that long about like, oh, well, you know, this is what happened to me. This is why I'm not like quote unquote your true Mandalorian. Like, this is my story, and here's how I ended up in the Sarlacc pit, and here's how I escaped. So I think those 5 minutes will be dedicated to that. We might even get a little bit more of Fennec's story. She kind of had that whole Zam Wessel dress up going in the most recent episode. I hope that's not like a foreshadow of, you know, Boba Fett betraying her. I get the feeling it won't be, because I think those two are a lot more, it seems like they have a lot stronger relationship than Jango Fett had with Zam Wessel. So I think that will be a different turn of events, but it could also be a foreshadow of like, oh, Boba Fett is going to betray her, but I don't think he will. I'll say this, if that's really what's going to happen, I feel really bad for Fennec, because that character just had a rough time in the Star Wars universe, and that's saying a whole lot. So my thought is 5 minutes of character back origin story, and then they hit the prison. And I think what would be at least a little bit more good pacing of the episode is that they dedicate 15 to 20 minutes to the prison break. So it's like suspense. It's kind of like James Bond style going on, a little bit like secret mission style. It's, a little bit more focused on stealth perhaps. And then they get caught, and then, alarms start going off, and then more, BA fighting moves happen. And I gotta say, episode 6 was really cool. Those knee rockets, knee missiles, whatever you call them, those were like, I want one of those. Like that is cool. Just I want to activate something powerful by literally just, moving forward and just walking, or kind of bending the knee a little bit. Anyways, I think they'll get caught at some point. But they'll break the guy out. They'll get him on the ship, and then Mandalorian threatens him a little bit, like, oh, if you don't, like, I'm going to make your life worse than prison. So you are going to do what I say. And I think that's how he's going to convince him. Or he might, give him the promise of like, okay, if you do this, I will let you go free. Like, I won't bring you back to the prison. You can do whatever you want. Just leave me alone. Just leave us alone. But you will be free after you do this like contract with me. And I think the next 20 minutes will be kind of set up to them making a plan of some sorts, or, getting connections, maybe making rounds back to previous allies saying like, hey, we are going to invade. We're going to break into a light cruiser, and we can't do this alone. We're going to need more help. We're going to sneak in, but we're going to need other people to like cause a distraction, or, do this and do that. And I think people will agree. So we might, get even season 1 allies kind of coming back. But I think a lot of the season 2 allies, like Carson Teva, I think Carson Teva will kind of be like, you know what, I didn't kill you the first time because I felt like, you were doing something right. So like, I feel like this is the right thing to do. So I'm going to help you, even though it's a little bit outside the jurisdiction. And then I think we'll get a scene of Baby Yoda being drained a little bit. And then I think we'll also see a little bit more of the Dark Troopers make more appearances, because I think as cool as it was in episode 6, they didn't really do a whole lot. So I think there'll be at least the same, maybe there'll be another like Grand Admiral Thrawn training with the Imperial Sentry Droids combat scene, just to show how dangerous they are. And we saw a lot. There was more than 4 in the previous episode. So I think getting that kind of emotion, or that kind of understanding in us, will be like, whoa, like, okay, these are not just your typical like droids. Like, these are some serious danger stuff. Like, they're more dangerous than assassin droids. So I think there'll be a little bit of that, so that it sets up episode 8 pretty well. So I'm not going to predict too much about episode 8, honestly, because there's too much on the line for me to do that. I have to watch episode 7 to accurately predict what's going to happen in episode 8. But here's how I think at least the ending of episode 8 will go. And that might sound weird. It's like, how are you predicting the ending? And I think it's all about setup, like how the future seasons are going to be set up. What information do we have now? So I think episode 8, just to like give you a rundown, will be like the big battle happens. They sneak in, get caught again, or something of the sort. Big battle happens. I don't think Moff Gideon will die. I think they haven't really built his character in a combat centric way for him to die so like quickly. So I think he'll escape, or he'll live. But what I think will happen at the end is, if you remember in episode 5, Ahsoka Tano was saying like, hey, where's your master, Grand Admiral Thrawn? And I think he set up to be another big villain. So I think what we'll see is like, this is my prediction at least. I think, the Empire will lose the battle. Moff Gideon will escape with the TIE fighter. And I think this is also where, he's going to lose the Darksaber while this, combat is happening. And I think what we will see is like Boba Fett's going to pick it up, and he's going to like use it for a bit. And then Bo-Katan also comes in. I think she's going to be another ally that's important that comes in to help. And then you're going to get this like situation of like them staring down. It's like, oh, is there going to be a fight? But remember in episode 6, Boba Fett said, I'm just making my way across the galaxy. Like, the armor's mine. Like, he's there for the armor. He's not really, and if you think about it, he's not really ingrained in the Mandalorian traditions. He doesn't have the same background as Jango Fett. He's more bounty hunter than Mandalorian, honestly. Even though he has probably a bigger claim to being the leader of the Mandalorians due to Jango Fett's history, due to the armor's history. I think he will kind of stick to his bounty hunter ways. And also, like, because he has Fennec with him, and hopefully they will continue the relationship. I think he's gonna use it, and then he'll look at Bo-Katan. It'll be a little tense, and then he'll pass it on to her and say, like, you know what, like, I may have like the bloodline, or I may have like the history, but I'm not really a Mandalorian. That's not really what I want to be. And you've been engraved in the history. You have all this history. You are worthy to lead Mandalore. So I think that's what's gonna happen. After the battle ends. So Moff Gideon escapes, and I think he's gonna run into he's gonna escape to wherever Grand Admiral Thrawn is hiding. I think that's my understanding. The way Ahsoka Tano said, like, oh, where is he? So he's like hiding. He's he's safe. So I think he's gonna go to where Grand Admiral Thrawn is, and he's gonna tell him what happened. Like, oh, like, the Jedi, there was Ahsoka Tano, and there's Mandalores, and like all this other stuff happened. The rebels came and all this stuff, and we lost. And I think we'll see Grand Admiral Thrawn do Grand Admiral Thrawn things, which is like predicting. And here's, I think, what's gonna be the biggest prediction. I'm usually not as selfish when I come to predictions and asking for stuff in TV shows, but here's a big one. I'm really this is selfish, but I also think it's reasonable. So if you haven't seen Star Wars Rebels, I'm going to spoil a whole lot for you by making this prediction. So you're going to have to bear with me, honestly. I mean, I encourage you to watch Star Wars Rebels. I think it's a fantastic show. But anyways, because we confirmed that Grand Admiral Thrawn is alive, and because I'm predicting that Moff Gideon will fly to Grand Admiral Thrawn as an escape, I think what we will see is like Grand Admiral Thrawn will be like, don't worry, I have a plan to trap the rebels and the Mandalorians. And then we'll see him like walk into a room where Ezra Bridger is held prisoner or captive, or at least maybe not even a picture, but at least like maybe a door that says like prisoner Ezra Bridger, something of the sort to indicate that he is a prisoner. That's something I made. That's a prediction I made in the last video. But I think that's how we'll get the reunion of the Rebels crew, if you will. I think that's what's going to happen. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Those are my predictions for episode 7 and 8. Let me know in the comments down below what predictions you have for the future of The Mandalorian. I'm just loving the show so much. I think it's, again, one of Star Wars' greatest inventions, and I'm like the guy who watched Clone Wars, plays Battlefront 2, watched Rebels, watched all the movies, obviously. I did not watch the Christmas special because of people telling me not to, but I feel like that's an exception anyway. But let me know what your predictions are, how you think any of the stuff will go, whether it be regarding the Darksaber, whether it be regarding the future seasons, the Rebel characters, any of that. So let me know in the comments down below. If you stuck around this far, that means you liked what I had to say. You thought I had at least interesting points. We'll definitely be talking about other Mandalorian stuff as the next episodes and seasons come out. So consider hitting that subscribe button. Join me in this really crazy nerdy community as we just delve deeper and deeper into the Star Wars universe. But until then, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you for your next Nerd Fill.